I said hit the floor, asshole, or I'm gonna blow your fucking head off!
Your store's got such nice, clean, filtered fresh air, and it just takes a couple of scumbags to stink it up.
I'm gonna cut you long.
The movie begins with a man named Harley Davidson traveling from Texas to Burbank, California. Along the way, he stops at a gas station and sees that it's being robbed by two men. Instead of running away, Harley stays calm and tells the clerk, who is held at gunpoint, that he just wants to buy some gas. One of the robbers points a gun at Harley and tells him to lie face down on the floor. But Harley stays calm. When the robber lets his guard down, Harley quickly takes him down. The second robber, holding a knife, tries to threaten Harley, but Harley isn't scared and easily defeats him too. Grateful, the store clerk lets Harley fill up his gas tank for free as a thank you. At the same time, a man named Robert Lee Edison, also known as the Marlboro Man, is playing pool with a big guy nicknamed Big Indian. They bet money, and Marlboro wins thanks to his impressive skills. But Big Indian refuses to accept the loss and orders his men to attack Marlboro. Just then, Harley shows up and mocks Big Indian and his gang for ganging up on Marlboro. Angry Big Indian challenges Marlboro to a one-on-one fight, but he fights dirty and pulls out a knife, injuring Marlboro. He corners Marlboro against the wall, but Marlboro quickly fights back by throwing a pool ball at him. And just like that, the legendary duo begins their wild adventure, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. It turns out Marlboro and Harley are old friends who haven't seen each other in 2 years because Harley suddenly left town without telling anyone. When Harley comes back, he realizes a lot has changed, including plans to build a new futuristic airport. That night, Harley and Marlboro visit their favorite hangout spot, the Rock and Roll Bar and Grill. Before going into the bar, Harley gives Marlboro a pistol as a birthday gift. Marlboro immediately uses it to shoot his own worn-out motorcycle. Inside the bar, Harley meets Giles, the owner, and an old friend. Giles is happy to see Harley again, but when Harley asks about the two well-dressed men he saw Giles talking to earlier, Giles warns him to stay out of things that don't concern him. Right after that, Harley notices a woman singing on stage. It's Lulu, his ex-girlfriend. Knowing Harley still has feelings for her, Marlboro warns him that Lulu is now married to someone else. Later, Harley and Marlboro move to a quiet corner of the bar where a crowd is watching an arm wrestling match. A big guy named Jack Daniels looks annoyed when he sees Harley. Jimmy, Jack's friend, asks why Harley showed up, but Harley says he's just visiting. It turns out Jack and Jimmy used to be friends with Harley, but now Jack doesn't consider him a friend anymore and challenges him to a fight. As always, Harley isn't scared and accepts the challenge. Even though Jack is much bigger, Harley moves fast and fights back hard. He even lifts Jack off the ground and slams him down. But Jack quickly recovers and fights back even harder, eventually beating Harley. He then throws Harley out the window and warns him to stay away from Lulu, saying she's his wife now, and he loves her deeply. Harley calmly replies that he ended things with Lulu a long time ago because he knew she truly loved Jack. After hearing that, Jack forgives him, and the two become friends again. However, their fight causes damage to the bar, and Jimmy loses a lot of money from failed bets. Meanwhile, Giles is frustrated because they now have to spend more money fixing the bar, which is already struggling financially. The bar is in serious trouble. The Great Trust Bank is threatening to take it over unless Giles pays $2.5 million to renew the lease within 21 days. Giles explains that the bank wants to tear down the bar and build a skyscraper. After hearing this, Harley comes up with a plan to rob the bank and use the money to pay the lease. At first, Marlboro refuses. But Harley tells him the bar feels like home, a place he can always come back to, so he's willing to do whatever it takes to save it. Since he can't do it alone, Harley asks Marlboro and a few others for help. After thinking it over, Marlboro and a bar worker named Josie agree to join him because they're grateful to Giles he helped them when no one else would. To save their special place, Harley, Marlboro, Jimmy, and Josie plan to rob an armored bank truck to get the money for the lease. At first, the heist goes smoothly. They quickly overpower the two guards escorting the truck, who barely fight back. However, one of the guards manages to press the alarm button, alerting the bank about the robbery. In response, the bank sends 5 heavily armed men wearing bulletproof vests to stop Harley and his crew. A fierce gunfight breaks out. Harley and his friends kept shooting, but the 5 attackers kept getting closer, ignoring the 2 guards who were still alive. In the middle of the chaos, Jack suddenly showed up and blew up his motorcycle to strike the gunman. He shouted for his friends to escape through the sewer tunnel, where Jimmy was waiting with a getaway car underground. After they finally got away and checked the stolen money, they realized the truck hadn't been carrying any cash at all. Instead of cash, the truck was carrying a dangerous experimental drug called Crystal Dream, which was now spreading across the city streets. Harley was furious and demanded to know why the bank was using its trucks to move drugs. Meanwhile, somewhere else, the bank's head of security, Alexander, received a direct order from CEO Chance Wilder: recover the drugs and eliminate the thieves. Wilder was furious and believed the robbers had to be skilled professionals, not amateurs, since they destroyed 2 of the bank's vehicles and escaped so easily. That night, Marlboro borrowed Harley's motorcycle and sped through the city streets to clear his mind. While riding, he deliberately provoked a patrolling cop, leading to a tense, high-speed chase. In the end, the officer caught him, but instead of arresting him, she took him to her place. It turned out she was Virginia Slim, Marlboro's ex-girlfriend. They spent the night together and rekindled their relationship, even though Virginia was engaged to another man and about to get married. She still had feelings for Marlboro, but she wanted a stable, long-term relationship, something Marlboro wasn't ready for. He didn't want marriage or to settle down. The next morning, Virginia was surprised to see Harley cooking breakfast in the kitchen. Harley said the meal was for Marlboro, then invited Virginia to grab breakfast with him at a nearby diner. While talking, Virginia explained that Crystal Dream was a highly addictive drug. It causes permanent damage to the nervous system, triggers hallucinations when users get high, and eventually leads to death. After breakfast, Harley drove Virginia home. Before going inside, she admitted she was jealous of Harley and Marlboro's carefree lifestyle. Meanwhile, still bitter about Virginia's upcoming marriage, Marlboro impulsively stole her fiancé's motorcycle. Later, Harley and Marlboro headed to the bank's headquarters to speak directly with Wilder. However, Wilder had already expected them to show up and called them first. Harley demanded $2.5 million in exchange for the stolen drugs. Wilder agreed and arranged a meeting that night at an old airplane graveyard. That evening, Alexander brought the money, and the exchange went smoothly. Harley and his friends returned to the bar and celebrated in the back room, thinking their mission was a success. But Marlboro started to feel uneasy. Everything seemed a little too easy. He warned the group to leave town right away. Soon, his instincts proved right. Alexander and his heavily armed crew showed up at the bar. Harley and the others watched quietly from behind a one-way mirror, while Giles tried to convince Alexander that no one was inside. Alexander pretended to leave, but suddenly turned back and shot Giles. Then he and his crew opened fire on the mirrored wall, starting a brutal shootout. Harley and his friends fought back, but they were quickly overwhelmed by the heavy gunfire. Harley and Marlboro managed to escape by jumping out the window. Sadly, all their friends were killed in the gunfight. Harley and Marlboro rushed to the nearest airport and hid inside the luggage compartment of a plane, while Alexander and his crew kept chasing them. A nearby airport worker almost spotted them, but Harley quickly covered her mouth to keep her quiet. Meanwhile, Alexander continued searching and even killed an airport employee who told him to leave the area. Harley and Marlboro eventually escaped to Las Vegas and checked into a hotel. There, Harley scolded Marlboro for constantly complaining, even though they had just survived a deadly attack. Suddenly, Marlboro punched Harley, upset that he showed no sorrow for their fallen friends. Harley tried to explain that their friends had known the risks, and there was no point in regretting it now. However, Harley apologized and admitted he was wrong. He asked Marlboro to stay and face everything together with him. While Marlboro stepped outside to cool off, Harley noticed a coin on the floor glowing red in a strange way. Meanwhile, Marlboro called Virginia from the hotel lobby and saw Alexander and his crew arriving. He quickly rushed back to warn Harley to get out immediately. They ran up to the hotel rooftop but quickly got cornered. With no other choice, they jumped into the swimming pool below to escape. While on the run, Harley realized they were being tracked by a tiny device hidden inside the glowing coin, something Alexander had given him earlier. After removing the tracker, they jumped onto a moving freight train heading east. During the trip, Marlboro said they owed it to their fallen friends to go back to Los Angeles and finish what they started. He decided to return and do what he believed was right. Harley, on the other hand, disagreed. He said the most important thing was that they had survived, and he just wanted to move on with his life. That night, Marlboro went to visit Virginia at her home, even though her fiancé nearly kicked him out. Realizing he had lost his chance with her, Marlboro told Virginia she was the best part of his life, and that he truly appreciated the time they had together. Moments later, Harley suddenly showed up on his motorcycle and said it was time to finish what they started and get justice for their fallen friends. They began planning their move against Alexander. Harley reactivated the tracking device inside the coin to lure Alexander to the old airplane graveyard. When Alexander and his crew arrived, he found the briefcase that once held the ransom money, but now it only contained the glowing coin, a clear sign that Harley knew about the tracker. Moments later, Alexander spotted Harley and Marlboro nearby, and a shootout broke out. Marlboro, with his sharp shooting skills, quickly took down one of Alexander's men with a shot to the head. Meanwhile, Harley kept firing wildly without aiming properly. The gunfight continued. Marlboro managed to take down another of Alexander's men, while Harley struggled to reload his gun. Things got worse when Alexander shot Marlboro in the arm, separating the two. Alexander captured Marlboro and demanded to know where the money was. Marlboro refused to answer and even spat in Alexander's face, ready to die. Just then, Harley showed up, pointing a pistol at Alexander and telling him to let Marlboro go. But since Marlboro was still a hostage, Harley tried to shoot Alexander. He missed and accidentally hit Marlboro in the arm. Knowing Harley was a bad shot, Alexander mocked him. Frustrated, Marlboro yelled at Harley to just shoot. Feeling cornered and under pressure, Harley finally calmed down, focused, and landed a shot right on target, hitting Alexander. Together, Harley and Marlboro took him down, ending the deadly chase once and for all. Next, they bribed Alexander's helicopter pilot and convinced him to fly them straight to Chance Welder's office. During the flight, the pilot casually mentioned that Alexander and his crew had been wearing bulletproof vests imported from Japan. Meanwhile, inside a high-rise office building, Wilder was in a meeting with Japanese investors when he saw his helicopter land and Harley and Marlboro step out. They barged into the meeting, threw the ransom money onto the table, and demanded that Wilder revise the lease to save the Rock and Roll Bar and Grill. But Wilder didn't care. He showed no interest at all. Wilder mocked them and proudly bragged about making huge profits by running a drug operation through the bank. At that moment, Harley lost his temper and told Marlboro to shoot him. But Marlboro refused. He had a rule: never shoot an unarmed man. Seconds later, Wilder's armed guards stormed in. Just then, the pilot they had bribed arrived in the helicopter and opened fire through the window, quickly taking down all of Wilder's men. In a fit of rage, Wilder hurled one last insult, this time about Marlboro's late father. That pushed Marlboro over the edge. He attacked Wilder, hitting him until he was backed into a large glassless window. Desperate, Wilder grabbed Marlboro's old cowboy boot while Marlboro clung to a steel beam. As Marlboro started to slip, Harley rushed in to help. But the boot came off and Wilder fell to his death. After the fight was over, Harley and Marlboro went their separate ways. They met one last time at a rodeo arena. Harley left town for good. But Marlboro was chasing his old dream again, riding bulls, despite the injury that once ended his career. He faced a wild bull with fierce determination, ready to prove he still had the strength. Meanwhile, Harley rode off on his motorcycle, finally free. As he hit the main road, he spotted a woman hitchhiking. Without hesitation, he stopped and offered her a ride. Together, they rode off into the unknown, ready for whatever came next. So, the lesson here is, never trust a glowing coin. It's really just a snitch in shiny disguise.